Welcome to Much Ado About Drama. This is the How to Direct a Play series, and this video is for drama teachers and directors focused specifically on how you can find a play that is the right fit for your program. I have been directing for almost 10 years now, from elementary school all the way up through high school, and finding the play choice is oftentimes the thing that takes the longest amount of time. There's a lot of great stuff out there, but sometimes there's almost too many choices. It's the analysis paralysis. I find on the drama teacher forums I'm part of, this is one of the most common questions, and people are asking, oh, I have this going on with my program and XYZ circumstances. What plays do you recommend? Absolutely, going ahead and asking other people if they've done that play that you're thinking about or what kind of things with your situation might be good. That's a great strategy. I hope that this video too can give you some easy tips and things that maybe you haven't thought about that can help narrow down your choices, or at least give you a framework to make it a little bit easier with one of the most important decisions for your program and your year. Before we really get going, I did want to tell you that I have a free Drama Classroom Toolkit. It's something that can help you go through your goals for the year for your program. And then I also link to some of my other freebies, such as an audition tip handout for your students, as well as a production checklist planner that's editable, has some basic things for like any production, but you can add things that are specific for your production needs. And if you go ahead and grab that, you'll also be signed up for my email newsletter, where I will be sending updates for when I have videos like this, as well as just general tips and tricks for your program. All right, so I wanted to share just 5 main tips for finding the right play or musical for your specific program. The first step is just addressing your specific program's needs. What are the needs for the school year? So this is where you can start to think about, how many students do you have in your program? How many students do you anticipate to go into your program? What are the needs of the community? What kind of shows have you done in the past? And do you want to do something similar that, was successful, or do you want to kind of change it up and do something a little bit different? What genre might make sense for your program? Are you trying to do any competitions? What are your needs as far as box office and who you need to bring in to your production? So just thinking about your specific program and the needs, and taking a little bit of time to do a kind of analysis with that. And this is where maybe going into some of those forums and getting some basic ideas from others. Hey, here's my circumstances. What kind of plays would you do if you were in my situation? Step 2 is more specific in who you have in your program. So this is both who you have in your casting pool as well as backstage. I have another video that I'll link that talks about being a solo drama teacher, because a lot of us are just one person running an entire program. And so do you have students who already know how to design lights to help with costumes, all of those things backstage? And if not, how can you start to grow those things? Same with, who do you have who is at least most likely to audition for your play? And that is going to help with how big of a cast you're looking at for the play, but also what are the technical needs of the show, and who do you have who can help with the technical side of things, whether it's students or parent volunteers or whatever it might be. You need to think about who you have access to in your program. Little caveat here, don't rely on who you for sure think is going to audition, because you never know. Even your senior who's been in all the shows for the past 4 years, I've had it happen before where, whatever the circumstances are, that individual gets really busy, and you don't want to choose a show based on one individual. You want to think about your program as a whole and how many students you anticipate with where your growth is in your program, rather than thinking of an individual or a couple individual students. Okay, number 3 is going a little broader. So this is your community as a whole and then your administration. So what are the expectations content-wise with the actual rules of your school? I have taught at a private Catholic school, and so there were specific expectations as far as the content of our shows. And whatever your individual situation is, be sure that you're not getting your heart set on something that is not even going to be approved. I recommend having admin in the conversation. I typically would come up with a top 3, and then I would sit down with admin and talk about why I liked my top choice, but why I'm okay with the other 2 choices, and get an official approval. And then you want to think about too, what are the community needs, both for how it will be the most beneficial to your community, as well as maybe thinking about the box office sales, because I know for a lot of our programs, that's the main way we stay afloat, is by people coming and buying tickets to our shows. Thinking about something that will resonate with your particular situation and community. Or if you're not as worried about how many tickets are going to sell, still thinking of something that maybe would be beneficial to the needs of your community. So even if it's not a super well-known show, what is the message of the show, and how is it going to be good for the audience that's coming to your show? Okay, step 4 is analyzing the budget, the tech, and the time. And so how many weeks do you have to rehearse? How many hours per week do you have to rehearse? So if you're going to do a big, huge, tech-heavy production, you're going to need more time on all ends to put that together. If you're having student designers, you're going to have to account for time that you're sitting down with those really busy students who maybe are involved in other things to get those design things in place. And you're going to have to also account for the time to actually rehearse and teach the entire show. If it's big set pieces, how are those getting built? When are they getting painted? All of these things. So like we backwards plan for our semester and our school year, what do we want to have happen at the end? You almost have to look at, here's the timeline that I have as a whole, and what can fit reasonably in this timeline. It doesn't mean you can't stretch yourself a little bit and go for something, but think about if there are really heavy tech needs, how you're going to make those things happen. I'm going to work on some other videos too about how to create simple yet effective set designs and costume designs and all of those things. So look for those going forward. But in the meantime, just overall think about what your budget is and what your time frames are and who you have who already knows the tech and just what makes sense with your program. Okay, step 5, identifying all these things now is going to allow you to start creating your list and reading through scripts with those lens of, do those things make sense, right? And so just a couple of places to recommend finding scripts. So you have Concord Theatricals that has both musicals and a lot of scripts now. You have Musical Theater International, and those are the 2 main ones for musicals. There are a few others that I'll link below as well. And then there are also, as far as scripts for plays, there are a lot of companies. So you can look at play scripts. You can look at one like Pioneer Drama. Those are more written specifically for school plays, thinking of bigger casts and classrooms in mind. Find which one you want to work with. And a lot of them, like play scripts, if you just give them your email and sign up for an account, you can actually read the whole thing for free. And so those things can be really helpful when you're on a budget, even just to find the play, right? And this is also a good time to, maybe once you've analyzed all the other things in the first 4 steps, to go on a forum and say, okay, here's the circumstances of my program, and here's a few plays I'm thinking of. What do you think? Or what recommendations can you give me that fit in my circumstances? And then that can help you create your shortlist, so that then you're really making the most use of your time when you're actually starting to read scripts, because it can take a lot of time to read. And so if you're really only reading things that you already know are reasonable contenders for your program, that's going to be really helpful with making the most use of your time. Okay, and then a little exercise. So once you've come up with your top 3, I recommend this exercise to give an actual score so that you can see what you are most leaning towards, and then that can give you your top 3 in order that you'll bring to your admin, right? So I would say, just on a piece of notebook paper, write down these 5 questions, okay? So how many roles can I confidently cast? What are the tech and set demands? Will this engage this year's students? Does it support our program's goals? And can I justify this to admin and parents? Okay, so you can brainstorm each of those 5 questions. And then what you're gonna do to actually give it a score, okay, we're gonna have these 5 categories. Okay, so relate to those questions. So cast fit, tech feasibility, student engagement, appropriateness, and growth potential. And you're gonna give each of those a 1 through 5. Okay, so up to 25 points total. And then based on the score, you're going to have your first, second, and third place. And you can share these scores even as you see them, at least with your student leadership team and if you have a co-director or some kind of team, and maybe have them answer those same questions and give a score so that then you can really even have other people involved and get an average score that will help you really narrow it down and have a tangible piece of, okay, this is why this is my top contender. I'm going to go ahead and link an additional landing page for you where you can put in your email and be sent the exact worksheet that I just detailed. I hope that these tips have been helpful for you and your program. I would love if you like, subscribe, share, comment down below what kinds of material would be the most helpful for you and your program growth going on in the future. Remember to check down below for my Drama Classroom Toolkit, as well as that program fit audit worksheet for finding and selecting a play for your program. Happy directing, happy teaching, and break a leg.